Celeste, you could call me when to say hi to everybody.
Hey. What's up, fam? It's Tuesdays with Tawana. Tawana is in the building, live and in person. Tawana, aka Rev T, is in the building for our 14th episode, season 2 of Tuesdays with Tawana. Hi, Mother Carolyn. I miss you. I'm spoiled, y'all. I'm used to speaking to my mother like every day, every other day, and took a trip to New York this weekend and didn't get a chance to talk to my mama. So I'm so grateful she's on today. So we have a lot to talk about today. You know how this goes. You come into the room, we chop it up via chat. I insert your chat messages into this space because this is about building community one broadcast at a time. So I cannot do this alone. Thank you, Mother. Thank you. Appreciate it. Representing Harlem today. You know I can't go home and then come back and not represent Harlem. Yes. In the building on today. So we build community one moment at a time, one broadcast at a time. Feel free to share in the chat. Feel free to just watch and uh, listen and just be a part of this. Feel free to join in if there's something you agree with, don't agree with. You need a moment to breathe because today I'm not sure which way we're going today, but today might be a bit tough. What's up, Tony? I love you. So sorry I didn't get to see you this weekend, but I'll be back. It's a secret. I'll hit you up and let you know when I'm coming back. So this weekend I went to New York, spontaneous trip. Now, the whole purpose of me moving to the East Coast, well, one of the main reasons was to be closer to family. And it's been a year since I've seen my family, and I am now fully vaccinated, still taking precautions and doing what I need to do. But I am so happy that I got to see. So I'm visiting people in pockets, right? Because I still want to be careful. And I'm only visiting those who are vaccinated. No shame or no shade to those who are not vaccinated. We'll just have to FaceTime. Any opportunity I have not to wear this mask, I'm going to take full opportunity of it. And yeah, I'm not traveling to New York if you're not vaccinated and we got to see each other with a mask and we can't hug and we got to stay 6 feet apart. That's just stressful. It's very stressful. So, hey, Mama Lovey. My mamas are just giving me beautiful compliments today. Oh, looking fabulous. Thank you. I'm only trying to look as good as my mamas, y'all. I have a lot of joy. I have a lot of joy today, even in the midst of what's going on, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But I just have so much joy, a joy that the world didn't give and the world can't take away. And family brings me joy. Laughter brings me joy. Sitting still and reflecting brings me joy. And it's a constant joy. It's not a joy that ebbs and flows. It's not a joy that's contingent upon what's going on in the world. I know that's right, Tony. She said, that ain't me. I'm vaccinated. I know that's right. Um, so I just have this joy and just being around family and missing family so much during this time of the pandemic. Toya's in the building. Peace and blessings to you, beloved, my beautiful beloved. So I had an opportunity to see family this weekend, and that was a beautiful thing. And um, it was a beautiful thing, more so because we've heard of another horrible killing that happened to our black beloved Dante, and I want to bring in my beloved Ethan to say hi to y'all because he's here with me. We went to New York this weekend. So this is my joy right here, my angel on earth, right? Is there anything you want to say to folk while we're here, while we're on together? Anything you want to say?
Hello, everybody.
Thank you, Pumpkin. Uh, Mother Carolyn said, you can come to California. I'm fully vaccinated. Boom. I'm on my way. Okay, so we are going to make that happen. Oh, Ethan, Mother Carolyn said, looking good, young man.
Thank you.
So, looking good, looking alive, being alive, breathing, things that we can no longer take for granted these days, right? Because we are struggling with racism. Hey, brother, I got to see my brother this weekend. So grateful. We had such a good time together. So I'm at a loss for words, to be perfectly honest with you. I came on today because I missed y'all last week. I did a recording, a podcast recording. Not sure, how many people get to listen to it or how many people see it and know that that's there and it's happening. And this week, I just love and I love my community and I need my community because being black and holding a wallet in the air gets us killed. Amadou Diallo. Being black by running gets us killed. Ahmaud Arbery. Being black, coming from the store, someone who just wants to bring someone joy, Elijah McClain. Someone who is driving, who is queer, Jessica Hernandez. Someone who is sleeping, we're being killed because we're black and we can't rest. We are Philando Castile, who had a permit for his gun, and now we're confusing tasers and guns. And I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, for sure. Yeah, Lindsay, nothing taken for granted for at all. I don't take any of you for granted who take time out of your day to come and to join with me, to journey with me, in healing and activism and being advocates and building community and loving each other with unconditional positive regard and making it happen, making it do what it do, regardless of those that keep trying to kill us as a community, as a diaspora, and they continue to fail. Like Lucille Clifton said, won't you come celebrate with me? For every day someone, something, some entity has tried to kill me and has failed. Oh, I'm stopping in Colorado, Mama Lovey. That's that's happening. Yeah, yeah. So and all these places that I'm stopping, right? There's a story to tell. There are things going on, and I go prayed up, but that doesn't mean that exempts me from being at risk, because all day every day I'm black. All day every day I'm a black woman. All day every day I'm an unapologetic black woman. All day every day I am here functioning and moving and shaking and showing up and being who I be. And that is a risk when it comes to racism. That is a risk when my skin color poses as a threat to society. That is a risk when people think that my skin color is should be weaponized. That is a risk when people are maced and pepper sprayed as a lieutenant in the army with his regalia on. I don't understand. And you know what? Some things are not for me to understand, but what it is for me to do is to build community so we could protect one another, so that we can change police policy or defund the police or dismantle the police and rebuild again. Fixing the system is nothing to be fixed because the system wasn't designed to work for us to begin with. Policing began with us in mind. Policing did not begin with white people in mind. Policing began with Black and First Nation Indigenous people in mind. So, how about we rethink this whole policing thing because it's not faring too well with us? Protect and serve, serve and protect. You're doing neither. And now I can't even have an air freshener hanging from my rear view mirror without being at risk and without being killed. Come on, somebody. And and then we wrestle with the trauma, the racialized trauma, the layers of trauma that we still have to continue to go through, because not only do we have the Chauvin trial going on that's on all day, then people are replaying the killing of Dante, and then people are still going back to showing the video of George Floyd, and the list just keeps going on and on and on, and we're constantly re-traumatized, just like they used to do with the lynching then. This is modern day lynching. The lynching then, the lynching was so public and would have people standing around because they wanted to teach a lesson. They wanted to show folk, yeah, this will happen to you if you don't do X, Y, and Z. If you don't listen to me. If slaves don't obey their masters, which is totally, totally twisted, unfounded scripture, right? Women be silent, twisted, totally twisted and unfounded scripture. So they use those things. They, as in white dominant thought, racist thought, those that are demeaning and dehumanizing toward others, they use all of that to keep us in fear. And I refuse to live in fear. When I was diagnosed in November of 2016, yeah, there was an initial shock. There was an initial fear. There was an initial concern, but it didn't consume me. It didn't take over. You know why? Because I knew that I am divine. I knew that I had an amazing village around me. I am surrounded. I was just telling my daughter the other day, I am surrounded by such beautiful people. How can I not be beautiful? How can I not want to heal and heal in a way that spirit would have me to heal? Does it mean that other people who succumbed to diseases wasn't faithful or didn't pray enough? No, absolutely not. But it's up to us to find the good in the midst of the chaos. It's up to us to create norms and to create sense and to create a modicum of sense in the midst of chaos. And it's for me to look at what is happening in the midst of this pandemic and make that list. I don't know if y'all saw Why Did I Get Married? And when Janet Jackson's character talks to the two other women who are married and says, make this list, right? On one side, you're going to write down all of the great things, good things, so things that your spouse does or lives or shows you or whatever. And then on this other column, you're going to write down all of the not so good things, right? So if the good outweighs the bad, then we need to start focusing on the good, because the good, what we focus on, expands. But if the bad outweighs the good, then we have some talking to do. And we have some things that we must change. And right now, the bad is outweighing the good, and we have some changes that we need to make. We have some changes that we need to bring forth as community, and we cannot do it alone. We can't continue to send a Lindsay Minter out there to do the advocating for Elijah McClain. We can't keep sending other leaders out there to speak for us alone. We've got to come together and make things happen. Even if we don't agree on certain things, we got to come together and make things happen. You know, there are things, and I don't watch the news, right? I get my news from certain sources. There are those on Facebook who are astute and connected communally and will share facts. I connect with them. Friends who watch the news, my sisters, my cousin, my mother's in ministry, I talk to them about what's going on. And then if it's something that I need to see or hear or experience for myself, then I go to that because that's protecting my energy. I know me, I know how I get, so I'm protecting my own energy. And at the same time, it's those people that are taking the brunt of that information for us to share with community so that we can move forward on something factual, right? We can begin to save our lives using factual information versus all of the negativity that's spewed out there and the dehumanization that happens and the how we treat those who are socioeconomically challenged, or black on black crime or violence does not exist. It exists just like white people killing white people. Or if you live in a community and you're in at odds in an adverse situation, that's what it is. It doesn't make it right, but there is something that we can do about it, especially when our communities were designed that way to put us all together. Food deserts, lack of resources, and when you have all of that, you begin to fight like crabs in a barrel. So it's by design. So we can no longer use the master's tools to dismantle the master's house, Audre Lorde, right? We must begin to use our own tools and dig into our own toolboxes and begin to build communities, to begin to come together and buy up communities so that we can support one another. And then we can build supermarkets, and then we can invest, and then we can do all of these things. But as we always go back to this. Hey, Rev T. Oh, yay. Hi, Jolene. She said it's good to finally catch up today. One of the challenges is, for 400 plus years, we have been taught not to trust each other. And we're supposed to trust each other overnight, maybe? No, we have to be very intentional. We have to set intentions, and we have to set intentions. Well, we have an opportunity, not have to. We have an opportunity to set intentions. We have an opportunity to put forth love and forgiveness and unity and repentance and atonement and all of that, and really realizing who we are and who we be and how we show up in the world. And when that stuff is not correct, you got to fix it. You got to fix it. When you're degrading and demeaning and raping and abusing women, fix it, because it's dead ass wrong. You know it's wrong because you have your own issues, or women and men. Let me go both ways, because women can be domestic violence abusers as well. So we got to fix it. But how do we fix it? So can I shift for a minute to just a quick thing on domestic violence, right? So many of you know that I have an opportunity to work with Odyssey Impact and Transform Films, with beloveds like Regina Groff and Reverend Benita Chase Darby, and working with seminary students, Lauren, and just too many to name, So we've been coming up with like this like what can faith institutions do, whether it's a church, congregation, synagogue, gathering, community. What can we do, and what tools do we have that would afford us an opportunity to address violence in the home? Now we are talking about violence overall in the home, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's sexual violence, and everything in between. And what can we do? And one of the hardest things that I've found, not only as a survivor, but one of the hardest things that I found is that you must want it for yourself. So when I got out of my domestic violence relationship, there was something in me that I had to want it for myself. And I tell the story of how I fell in love with myself when I was in seminary. And once I fell in love with myself and realized that I was more than this, what this person was trying to make me out to be. And I thought about growing up in Wagner projects and how beautiful it was and how the world would say growing up in the projects is the worst. It's this, it's that. But it's a place where I saw unconditional positive regard and love and community. And yeah, we had a lot of stuff going on, but the root of all of that, we still had love and community. So I had to realize that all the things that I've been through, yes, good, bad, and ugly, yes. And as a person of faith, I knew that something had to grow out of that, like a rose growing out of a concrete out of the concrete. Concrete doesn't produce anything. It's stability. It's a foundation. But what grows? So there's a crack, right, in the concrete, in our foundation, and you would think that that was a negative thing, but then the grass comes up, and then, using the metaphor, the rose that grew from the concrete, because it's unusual. It's something that doesn't normally grow out of that space. So how this is an unusual time, a peculiar time. So how can we take this peculiar time and be that rose that grows from the concrete? How can we shift the mindset to say, nah, something can grow from this. Something good can come out of this pandemic. Something good is going to come out of, something good must come out of the death of Dante and of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Sam. Things, they must. Something must come good, come out good must come out of this, whether it's transformation, whether it's deliverance, whether it's repentance, whether it's tearing down this BS two-party system. They can't figure out what they want to do. They just put together a bill. I think his name is Sass. I told you I don't watch the news that much, but in the bill, it was similar to the Democratic bill about police reform or crime reform, something, police reform, I think. And one of the things that was taken out of the revised version of police reform was accountability and this national database, so that police officers who do wrong in one state can't go to another state. Y'all just need to find a new career altogether, because clearly that's not your calling if you are degrading and demeaning people because of the color of their skin. Yep, there's Reverend Dr. Regina Groff. She said it was a blessing and an honor to partner with you. It was a blessing and an honor to partner with you, Regina, because Regina, as one of my dearest friends, came on board with me, recommended her and her mom to join me because I could not do this without my peoples. And to be able to find something good that comes out of these heinous acts. So let us begin to center ourselves, mind, body, and spirit, and not focus on the past. The past is a part of who we are, but we don't have to remain back there. What is it about that? I don't know, Sankofa is just in my spirit for the last several weeks or whatever. But what is it about looking back and saying, what good came out of that? Family may have come out of that. The foster care family that I was with saved my life. Having a child, not me personally, or having a child at a young age saved my life. Or getting a job. I didn't finish school, but that, meant I got a trade and now I have my own. So there are so many different things where things don't go like the white American way, where you work hard and you reap the benefits. That rule and equation don't work for us, y'all. It don't work for us. We got to create our own norms, and we got to create how we are going to make this happen on our own. So as we have this joy and pain, and we juxtapose joy and pain side by side, that's problematic, because then we're separating the two as if we can't find joy in the midst of pain, or there isn't pain in the midst of joy. singing around, singing and chanting and talking about, this joy that I have, the world didn't give, the world can't take away. I say it because I mean it, and I say it in the midst of pain. I say it in the midst of my surgery. I say it in the midst of my reconstruction surgery. I said it in the midst of my diagnosis. I said it in the midst of my domestic violence relationship, when I used to lay on the floor every night and every morning at in seminary and recite Psalm 34 and Psalm 91. I define who I am. I define that joy. I define what's going to come out of that pain. Because as Emily Towns quoted Audre Lorde, is pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. So I refuse to suffer. I refuse to have my community suffer. I want us to deal with the pain that is inevitable. And then we find out what is it that is going to come out of it, that is going to develop, that's going to bloom, that's going to change what I have experienced in regards to pain. So we're going to find joy in the midst of pain, and we're going to find pain in the midst of joy. So what does that look like when the tears were falling from my eyes when I found out about Dante? What does that look like when I see a black man in an army uniform with his eyes squinted and his hands up? I don't know if he's going to live or die, or if they're going to shoot him or claim that they were threatened, or because he was in his greens, his whatever. What is going to come out of that? And I'm hoping that those things will shed light in this nation, and that it'll be more of us that will be able to combat the degradation and the marginalization and the oppression and the racism, versus those who don't want to wear a mask, those who spit in our faces, those who, if we're walking down the street, they want to call the police and say, I see somebody driving while black, walking while black, talking while black, jogging while black, eating while black, sitting to visit their grandmother while black, walking home while black, driving in a car while black, being with their family while black, walking a dog while black, taking pictures while black, sleeping while black, holding their wallet in their hand while black, or not understanding the language. And if you say stop and I don't understand the English language, while black. All of these things while black. We don't see these things happen equally to white people. And that's not what I want. I want it to stop. Stop killing us. Period. Full stop. I don't want this to happen to anyone at all. Yeah. Regina repeating, I define my joy. And it's not always, just like death is not always what we look like. Healing is not always what we think it looks. Sorry, joy is not always what we think it looks like. Healing is not what we think it always looks like. Going through challenges aren't always what we think it looks like. We define that. When we stop letting other people define individualism and either or and perfectionism and racial battle fatigue and just racism, period, and anti-black racism, when we stop letting other people define who we be and how we show up in the world, then we can come together with all of our differences, with all of our stuff, and we are able to love unconditionally. We are able to come together and say, you know what? I got to check you for that because that's hurtful. I got to check you for that because that was harmful. I got to check you for that because that brought me joy. Consequences are both good and not so good. Consequences aren't always bad. So I do an action and I get rewarded. That's the consequence for me doing something good or whatever, right? Or if I do something to harm someone and that I'm harmed, or whatever, something bad happens to me, then that's the consequence of doing harm, right? So if you get a chance, listen to my podcast from last week, because I talk about do no harm and beneficence, and how that is the golden rule, if you will. And we created these documents in this country that was supposed to be for all, but it's not for women. It's not for First Nation Indigenous people. And quite frankly, it's not working for any of us right now. Any person, BIPOC person. And no, I will not stop using BIPOC. I know that people want to cancel it because they're tired of the acronyms and all that. But right now, that's what we got. because it is important for me to identify Black and Indigenous people first, because we have been suffering in this country since its inception. And people of color, I rock with y'all. And there are some things that people of color, a lot of things that people of color have to deal with their own racism against us. Yep, said it, stand by it. So let me know when you see a group of, I'm just going to say it. Let me know when you see a group of, say, Asian folk out there fighting for against the murder of Dante. Yeah, yeah. Listen, this is our time. It's 2:30. Thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for spending time with me. If you get a chance, please listen to the podcast from last week. This will be posted on my page and it'll be posted as a podcast as well. Make sure you listen to the podcast with Dr. Matthew Knowles. It's on my page. I will repost it and I'll put it in the comments. We had so much fun talking about the future of the Black church and just kept it real. And it's not for every Black church in the world or in this nation, but there's a lot of us that can really rethink how we do church, especially with how we treat people in our communities. The least of these, are we feeding each other? Are we loving each other? Are we clothing each other? What are we doing with our unhoused beloveds? What are we doing with women and honoring women? And who will protect the Black woman? So I encourage you to listen to Mother Carolyn on Thursdays at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Yeah. And let's keep listening. Let's keep reading. Let's keep talking. Shout out to the Reverend Christina Reed. She's not on here today, but I love her dearly. Had a beautiful, loving conversation with my sister on this morning. Love her dearly. So listen, I'm out representing Harlem, spending time with my grandbaby because he just rocks. Oh, Regina is the bomb. Yes, there is the Teespring. I am still raising money for school. I am actually going to do a bigger fundraiser along with the T-shirts, do something with that. So yes, I need to raise $3,000. Let me put it in the atmosphere. There's no shame. I need to raise $3,000. And check this out, y'all. I did it the first trimester. We did it the first trimester. We did it the second trimester. And I am not concerned about not meeting this goal the third trimester. So I am just waiting for my IRB to be approved and then I'll start my interview. So we are close to the finish line, y'all, and I could not have done this without y'all. I love y'all to the moon and beyond. Next week, we're going to have a little conversation about the moon, all right? Yeah, something a little different. I love y'all to the moon and beyond. I'm out. Rev T, Tuesdays with Tawana. See y'all next week. Love ya.